Would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. No public comment, I would assume, which brings us to item 3, recognition. Mr. Frank Barnett has some presentations, I believe.
We actually had 2 new nationally board certified teachers, and I just want to make sure that we recognize these people for their hard work and all the time and effort it takes to go into this to gain this national certification. And we really appreciate their hard work and the diligence they put into honing their craft. And I just wanted to recognize these folks tonight. I didn't hear back from Brenna, but I did hear back from Leanna. So, Leanna, if you could step forward, please. Just want to let you know we really appreciate you. And there's a poster that, like, it's in the hallway here that'll go out. And then I'm going to have our halftime secretary does pictures for it. I'm going to have her come and get a headshot of all of you. We'll have those posted out here as well. But we really appreciate all your hard work that you do and the effort that it took to come into this.
Yes, we do. Thank you so much.
And I believe there's a monetary award that comes with that, isn't there? You intend to share it with any of us?
No.
No, I mean, actually share it with us. But we congratulate you.
Yeah.
I'm glad they didn't have that around when, because I would have probably tried to get it and not made it. So, but congratulations. That's quite an honor.
Yeah.
The
Very
other lady
proud
was
of you.
Brenna Allen, or it might be Brenna Allen White now.
It's Brenna Allen.
Brenna Allen. She is teacher at Hamlin Pre-K 8. And again, just the amount of work, I know what it takes to the amount of work for them to accomplish this. And it's a huge task, and it's a testament to their willingness to better themselves and better it for their classroom. So I just really appreciate that.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you. Congratulations too, by the way. All right, that brings us to presentations and reports. We've got Principal Lori Huffman from Hamlin PK8.
Why your little voice is so
Would you
soft
mind
and
talking
sweet.
into that mic? Because I can't hear very well, Lori. I'm sorry.
Is it on?
I have no idea. Well, here comes our audio specialist. Dinah used to be, but we fired him.
Got it?
Ah,
Okay, is that good, Mr. Bell?
That's good.
Okay. I don't mind to use it, but I've got a loud voice at some point. Don can vouch for that when you work with me. So, okay, so we have put together this little presentation for you, our LSIC report. So over on the left-hand side, of course, you know, it has, my name is principal, Miss Carrie Bates is our assistant principal. Number of professional staff at Hamlin has gone up to 39. Number of support staff is 25. We have 9 Apple certified teachers. We will be having a training next Friday, hopefully, to increase that number because we are going for Apple Distinguished School as well. Our special ed population has gone up to 28%. That has increased 3% from last year. Most of our new students that are coming in from out of state are special ed students. So we have 21 homeless students or classified as homeless. We've had 31 suspensions this year. The majority of those are repeat offenders, so not too bad. Discipline referrals were 121, and we've had 0 expulsions for the year. Now, the narrative strategies to improve test scores, I'm just going to give you a quick overview. I'm not going to read that verbatim, but what we do, we take our iReady data, and I sit with kindergarten through 5th grade teachers. We divide those students into 4 groups in 1 through 5. Kindergarten, 6 groups. So you have small group instruction based on the data, and iReady gives you specific lessons that you use to improve on the standards that they're deficient in. Okay. Then in the middle school, same thing. We take iReady, and then we take the West Virginia Summative Assessment benchmark that we give 3 times a year, and we have intervention groups in the middle school, and it's 9-week period. Then we switch them out based on the data. Okay. Then we have after school tutoring. We finally have that back this year. And then homework help is provided every day over in the middle school during Bobcat time if students want to get that. So lots of different things going on to try to improve those test scores. Our mission statement, you can read that. I think it's quite lengthy there. And then our vision, of course, we are a leader in me school. So creating leaders that positively impact the world. That is our mission statement. Okay, our 2023-2024 goals. This is based on last year's our West Virginia Summative Assessment. We plan on raising our math scores from 36% proficient to 41%. And then reading, same thing. It was identical for some reason this year, 36% proficient. Our goal is 41% proficient. Then our third goal, of course, is attendance. We had 89% last year attendance, so we want to go up 3% to 92%. Okay. Strategic plan. This comes straight off of that. There's our proficiency rates again, ELA and math. College and career readiness. Okay, this year we have implemented Discover Your Future, which is provided by the West Virginia Department of Ed. It is a CTE program that addresses the 16 career clusters, and we divided those between 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, so it's not repetitive. So we did that in the past, but we just had our own materials and then things from the West Virginia Department of Ed. We went for training. Miss Davis, Mr. Davis's wife, she received a grant through the West Virginia Department of Ed, and she's going to be using that for like media and having some outside activities with those kids. Spanish is offered to our 7th and 8th grade students. We've had career fairs, and we plan on doing that again this year that address college, CTE, and then just local jobs opportunities. We had local artisans, local people come in and do career fairs for our kids so they know what's out there for them. Gear Up funds, we use those. They've been on lots of field trips and lots of experiences, and it's only for our 8th graders this year. Organizational excellence. Now you can read that. We get lots of input from lots of different stakeholders. Our LSIC, leadership team, student lighthouse team, staff lighthouse team, whole school PLC, and our PTO, they give input into all matters. We do lots of surveys, SurveyMonkey, put that out there. So we get lots of information from all stakeholders in the community. It's their school. So, okay, celebrations. We are a leader in Me Lighthouse School, which is a huge accomplishment. We came last year for that. We will renew this year, hopefully. Lighthouse Academic Honor Roll for 2 consecutive years. Our Leadership Day was a big celebration. We do Lemonade Day with entrepreneurship stuff, activities. We have Gear Up, of course. Our new National Board Certified Teacher, Ms. Brenna Allen, which brings us to a total of 6. We had 9 at one time, 3 retired, so we're down to 6 now, but we're moving forward with that. Discover Your Future grant, and I misspelled that, I apologize. And then we just got information yesterday from the West Virginia Department of Ed. We got a $20,000 grant for Project Lead the Way, and it is CTE based, so which I thought that was great. Okay, the next one, if you'll go to the very last page, and it says iReady and benchmark data. Since we are a leader in Me School, we have wildly important goals. This is my tracker, and I give this out at LSIC meetings, leadership meetings. This is the data from those tests. We make bulletin boards up. Anybody that comes to our school can vouch that this data is up in the hallways. The kids notice it and the improvements that they've made. Now on the iReady 2, some of our students have not completed, and I'll update this as they finish that up. And we plan on taking the benchmark 2 for the summative assessment the last week of January. So that data fills in for the year, but we track it in the hallway so the kids know anyone that comes into the school, they can see, what our proficiency rate is for ELA and math, all the way K to 8. Okay. So the next page, curricular focus. And I've got math has been the curricular focus for several years now. We've dedicated time to a math PLC, which Miss Stephanie Workman, who works a lot with Miss Maynard here with M3T. She leads that for us. We work together. She helps all the teachers K to 8, with information about math, any questions, and we do, things to improve our math scores, especially like from the iReady diagnostic. We've conducted parent trainings in the past. We haven't got to do that since COVID, but each month we brought parents in. Parents are unsure how to help their kids in math now. So our teachers train parents so they could then help their kids at home. And we do want to continue doing that. Okay. Career education's been a focus the last several years as well in the middle school, and we've implemented Discover Your Future. So PLCs and leadership team. PLCs, we meet during PL days monthly or every other month when they're scheduled. Elementary teachers share common planning, so they analyze data whenever they feel the need to do so, which is like for their subject area test, they can meet at any point in time. A little bit harder for middle school because, you can't schedule all their plannings at the same time like that. Data from assessments such as, but not limited to, iReady, West Virginia Department Ed benchmarks, common benchmark assessments, formative assessments are all utilized to help guide instructional decisions. And we press that during meetings. Use that data. Our leadership team meets once a month, and then as necessary, because I'll let them know a day or two ahead of time, and we'll come together if there's something that we need to plan or discuss and get input from our faculty. Current culture and climate of the school. One good thing about being a leader in me school, there is a survey that you conduct every year, and our culture was deemed effective through this survey. We try to keep our building clean and aesthetically appealing. If you come in, we try to make it a place that people want to be. Okay. The administrators, Ms. Bates and I, really work hard to show our appreciation to our teachers. We try to get them things. We buy them, treats and things from our own pocket, of course, but we want them to know that they are truly appreciated because we do have, the hardest working people at our school.
Monthly teacher, teacher of the month and service person.
No.
Okay.
No. We strive to maintain a family atmosphere where everyone's appreciated, loved, and they know they're an integral part of our school. Students know they come first, and they can tell you that they come first. So our needs, these are some of the things, what we've asked for and received. Our playground upgrade, Mr. Cremeen sitting here, we hope to start that in April. Our HVAC is going to be replaced, both buildings this summer. What we've asked for in the past and still need attention, the fascia on the gym entrance. When Mr. Davis was principal there, he and I talked to Mr. Gosney about replacing that, and he thought it could be replaced when they redid the roof. It didn't happen, but some of those boards are rotting, so we need to get that replaced, and the fascia, I think, would make it look much more attractive for people coming in. Sound system for the middle school gym. We have one, but it's not great. Fencing around the front of the school on the middle school side. And it's the reason being, Don knows this, that plus now that we have lots of transient people coming into Hamlin, we have found lots of needles out in the bushes. I mean, it's a safety hazard for our kids. And I don't really want a fence there, but to keep people out for safety reasons, that fencing.
Lawn of what used to be the high school.
Yes. Yeah. So it's just, you'll go out there and you find various items that shouldn't be on school property. So,
That's the times we live in.
because the apartments there, the Cyril's Apartments. There's lots of people in and out there. So it truly worries us. And they come straight across that front lawn. If they're going over to 7-Eleven, I've had to go out there and ask this one little lady, during school time, you're not allowed to be out here. But she begs for food and lots of stuff. And if you give her money, it's not spent on food. I'll say that. So the community knows her. So, window tinting, I talked to Mr. Lucas about this. We've talked about that before. That middle school building receives all the heat, and the people upstairs, even with the air on, it is really, really hot for those people. So we've talked about window tinting, just to reflect that heat back out. So the heating or the cooling system can work. So, and
Again, you're
then-
talking about what used to be the main high school.
yes,
Okay,
Yep.
I'm just trying to
Yeah.
get my,
you know how you've been there. It reflect,
Okay.
it just takes all that heat in. And this was a comment from one of our LSIC members, the parking. Hamlin doesn't have a lot of parking, of course. And, when we have functions, people coming in, it's really hard for them. So they recommended that the area there at the elementary building, there's enough room to do double parking there. If we could blacktop that area, I know it's really expensive because I think it was brought up before Donna and I became administrators. Lots of money, but it would be worth the money for our parents to have spots to pull in. Right now, they're pulling on the side.
Across the road from the high school.
That is who
Who owns that property, us?
No, it's not us.
I bet if we talked real good, we might be able to work a deal out of it.
it's an individual that
Who
owns
does?
it. Bobby Watson. That's him. Robbie.
I
Yeah.
think it can be sold for like 10 years because they got money to tear that building
Yeah.
down.
Oh, okay, so they did that.
And I
Never
think,
mind.
and I'm just talking.
Yeah, you're,
Yeah.
yeah.
But, the asbestos deal, and the federal
Oh.
government gives money to tear it down, but I don't think it can be sold for like 10
10
years.
years,
Because
yeah.
everybody's trying to buy it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because
Good
there's
piece
these,
of property.
Yeah, my
Such a
church
prime
would like to have it,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I knew it was an individual that owned it now. So, and it is a liability.
Well,
Yeah.
but it's prime property after
Yeah.
10 years.
Yeah. So the parking, that was something that was brought up. And then the last page, of course, you have our LSIC chair, the teachers, parents, service staff, other LSIC members, business partners. Now, I could add some more to that. I just put the ones that help us the most: 7-Eleven, of course, McDonald's, Southern West Virginia Health Systems, and Armstrong. Then student safety practices, of course, we have cameras throughout various locations in our school. Our swipe system for the staff, to come in and out of the buildings. Practice for fire drills and lockdowns, we do those. And then the window clings for our front entrances of both buildings. If you notice, they have the Bobcats on it, and it is a safety thing because people cannot see in during the day. So, if someone comes, they can't see our children in the hallways. So,
Looks pretty good.
well, I wanted to do the old high school, the middle school building. It was $17,000. So,
So a couple of questions.
okay.
Does the board have anything? Don't want to jump in front of it. I got a couple, can we go back to the iReady data
Mhm.
again?
Certainly.
Okay, tell me what I'm looking at. Let's take second grade, because that's
Okay,
my
yeah.
grandson's at.
Okay. So,
What am I looking at?
okay, this
when
is
I'm
the
looking at this.
percent proficient out of those, for those students.
The
Okay.
Percent.
The
This is
percent
the
proficient,
Percentage. of
22%.
second graders
Yes.
Proficient. When it says iReady 1, what does that mean?
That was our first, already diagnostic that happened in September.
Okay,
Now, we're still taking iReady 2, and a lot of those second graders haven't finished. You usually see a lot more growth between the first and the second benchmarks. So as soon as they all finish, I'll update this data. Okay, I just put it on here now so you could get an idea what we do with it.
okay.
Is that
Okay.
already through the last of the school? year?
iReady 3 will be in April.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm gonna pick your brain here, because
Okay.
you're probably the dean of the elementary principals.
yes,
Oh,
Okay.
he's gonna get whipped
Uh,
away.
I don't know a thing about elementary,
Mhm.
so you have to walk me through. this.
Okay.
And by the way, before I get started in this,
That one did.
I get a lot of calls as board president. A lot. I have never gotten a call on anything bad from Hamlin's PKA.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you for letting me know.
I congratulate you. I probably jinxed you. I'll
You
probably
probably
get one
have.
tomorrow.
You probably have.
But, you all are doing some good things out there.
Thank you.
So, all right, we've got these second graders and on the iReady one, when school started, we had 1 out of 5 that's proficient.
In second grade standards, but you remember they were first grade students. So this will improve as they're taught the standards.
Okay, that's
Okay.
what where I'm headed.
Okay.
So you had 1 in 5 that technically could be in the 3rd grade.
Correct.
That's not bad.
No.
That's pretty good. Math is different story.
It is a different story.
When we look at these second graders, pick any grade, but we'll say second graders. The year moves along, we're halfway through, and we've got some testing to do, but it looks like maybe 1 out of 4 have reached the 3rd grade level after
Halfway.
1.5 years.
Mhm.
They've gone beyond the 2nd grade level
Right.
after a year and a half in school, okay? 1 out of 4 has. Let's just assume, for the sake of where I'm going with this, that ELA is 33% at the end of this year, which means 1 out of 3 kids in the 2nd grade completed the 2nd grade
Mhm.
level, okay? That means 2 out of 3 did not.
Correct.
They're still somewhere on the 1st or 2nd grade level
Correct.
or farther back.
Yes.
What do we do with these 2 out of 3 kids? I know we're going to promote them to the 3rd grade. What do we do to get 2/3 of our students up to par? Now, you talked about, you've had 4 groups in grades 1 through 5 doing the remedial thing.
Yep.
How much remediation do they actually get?
They get 45 minutes a day
45 per day.
and 3 days for ELA, 2 days for math.
Okay.
And that's our Title I teachers. Our 2 Title I teachers pull the lowest scoring students because they go back to the basics. Those 2 teachers have like special reading certifications, so they have a lot more to pull from their repertoire, than some of the other teachers. I'll say that. For newer teachers, I'll say that. Yeah. Yeah. And they take out 5 students. So that's 10. Say in 2nd grade, we have 40, what do I have there? 2nd grade has 45 students. So you're taking 10 out of that mix. Well, then Miss McGrady gets the next group. She has a reading certification. So I look at their certifications as well to see where their expertise is. So she takes the next group and she may have 10 kids. Okay, so there's 20 of them. And then the students that are on level, then the other teacher, they work more like on comprehension, things like that.
Okay. The ELA teacher or the regular classroom teacher
Mhm.
is instructing these kids, that 22% that was on level in September. They're instructing them through to January. We managed to get that up to 27%. We gained 5%. Okay. That's regular everyday plus remediation.
Yep.
All right. It's an uphill battle.
It is.
And again, I'm not elementary, but it seems to me like we've got patients that's ill and we treat them 3 days a week. Is this enough is that remediation, is it enough
It's not enough, not for me, but we don't have any more people to,
But how much would be enough?
well, I will tell you my experience from teaching second grade for 17 years. The year that I had 14 students in my class, they were working way above, they were learning fourth grade material because I could spend like one-on-one time with those kids that were, behind. They got caught up. We learned states and capitals, we learned multiplication tables. Once you throw 25 kids in on a teacher, it's really hard for them to be successful. Now, the aides in first grade, I can see a big difference already in that because once those aides become acclimated, we can make 6 groups there. See, kindergarten's blessed because they have 6 smaller groups. Now, look at kindergarten, Mr. Bell.
Yeah.
You see that jump?
Yeah.
That's what we want to see. And by the end on I-Ready 3, that's going to be up there close to 70 or 80% proficient.
Yeah, that's where we've got to
is.
go. See, my concern, and I've preached this since I've been on the board, is that we start out and we're teaching them subjects, but somewhere along the line, we're not teaching kids, we're teaching the subject. And if the kid doesn't get it, we just go right on like we've always done. And by the time they get into the 5th grade or 6th grade, they're behind. Then when they get to the high school, it's all over with. I would have kids coming into the 9th grade reading on the 5th and 6th grade level. We would give them a 9th grade textbook that was written by a college professor on the college level. There was no way that those kids were ever going to succeed. We build a structure to cause failure. Now, those kids that were on schedule and were reading right managed to go
Right.
on and do quite well. It had nothing to do with how hard we were working, how much we were doing. They just did not have the skills. Now, all these kids in K through 3, they need the skills. By law, they have to have the skills.
They will now.
Next year,
Yeah.
I think it is. And we've got to do something to address this even more. I know 45 minutes a day, it's a help, but it's not the cure.
Yeah.
Now, we've talked, or I've talked, I don't know if any decision's been made about putting more of an emphasis this summer in a couple of ways. Letting them take their
iPads.
iPad tablet, taking it home, maybe hiring teachers to follow up on that with the kids, that we have active learning going on to keep them from regressing. Looked at one school last year that at the end of the year, they had 24% of their kids on level, but following year, they had 3 kids in the entire school that was on level. That's disastrous. And we do this thing of trying to catch up every year. They go back and they regress. No, we can't force people to send their kids to school. But I think most parents would welcome some kind of a programmed instruction on our part utilizing those iPads. I don't think it's financially feasible to bring kids in for a summer school, but it might be educationally feasible to hire some teachers to work with these kids during the summertime. How many teachers would it take to address K through 3 in the summertime using the iPads?
I would say 2 per grade. Like for us, it would be 6, 2 per grade level. So you could spend more time with those students. Like I said, if you throw 20 some kids, you're not going to be able to address, those deficiencies
But
and
would
stuff.
would you have the teachers do home visits and work with the children in their home, or how would we do that?
Why would you need a home visit?
Well, to make sure the kid is using the computer, not somebody else. Because that happens sometimes when they send out stuff. The kid is not the one that does the work.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me
Okay.
ask you to do a little more work.
Okay,
All right. Think about how to get more out of the iReady, utilizing the resources we've got, the iPad, the possible number of teachers. We always have limited money, you know
Right.
that. Joni Shortridge, you get with Joni and Mr. Barnett, and you all talk about how we can build a better mousetrap.
okay,
And, you know, it's got to be done soon because a lot of planning has to be done. But I want to see these kids K-3 get more instruction, not regressing. If these kids on this list hadn't regressed, you might be looking at 50% instead of 27.
yeah, summer
Uh,
flies rough on them,
so-
so,
Let's see what we can do about
Okay.
tackling that.
okay, it's
Uh,
a challenge.
You know, you all are the experts. I'm not. I wouldn't know which end of the book to open on in elementary, that you all do. And let's at least talk about what might need to be done,
Okay,
okay?
sounds good to me. Listen, I'm
All
up
right.
for a challenge.
Thank you, Lori.
Hey, thank
I appreciate it. Thank you.
you. Anybody else have a question? No?
And if
Good.
I'm out in left field on this, just tell me. We just gotta do something.
Speaking out while I'm speaking quiet now, it's all.
Oh,
I'm glad you had the name, because I had heard that name, but I couldn't remember. Okay, thank you, Lauren.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you. All right, we move on along. Item 5, approve the minutes of the January 2nd regular ed meeting.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Wilson, Burns, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And it's 4-0. Brings us the administrative items. Any discussion? I'll just go back on the high schools that work. Where did I see that at? We're sending somebody to trip somewhere.
Under E,
E,
near the bottom,
Yeah,
SRED.
if I remember correctly, we sent 2 of these same 3 people last year.
We sent all 3 of them.
yeah, we did.
Should we keep sending the same 3 and not broadcast it out? I mean, I'm going to go ahead and vote for this, but I'm just throwing this out there.
You want to speak to that?
We need to be widening this knowledge.
We actually had this exact same conversation
Well,
earlier this
You
year.
don't tell me I'm thinking like you guys.
it's a little scary.
Initially, we did deny it because it was the same 3 people
Well,
going.
We need
And
to
then-
maybe to speak with her, the principal.
Well,
and talk about that.
See, it was offered to others, and there were no takers on it, because it was during their summertime, and
Oh, well. By the way, we at Duval, Mr. Snyder and I, we were the first school to do this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm, after all these years, I think it's better than nothing, but not by a lot.
But we
I
did
think
tell
the
them,
press for it's a lot better
we
than
did
like,
tell them if they were gonna ask to send people next year, it needed to be different people.
well, you know, you might even want to think next year about sending some of these, middle school people to it.
Letting them get a little taste of what they're gonna.
Yeah.
actually middle schools that matter.
It's not cheap
Yeah.
to go, so whoever we send,
Has to be at
it
least.
needs probably one school at a time and not
Yes.
Yeah.
one school per year or not.
Yeah,
But that's, that's like $7,000
especially in that man.
to send 3 people.
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing on here is that Mr. Snyder and I were talking about bus trips. I tried to find a policy. I couldn't find a policy that actually addressed this, but I think anytime a bus goes out of state, we have to have board approval,
Yeah,
even if they're going to Ashland. We can send a bus to Morgantown, but
but,
we got to get approval to send it to Ashland.
correct.
We need, I don't know if that's a policy or a practice or is that a policy, Robin?
It is.
We need to revise that policy to give, I think, the superintendent discretion to approve those things
Yes.
on his own with, within a reasonable amount. What did you say? 50 miles from Huntington?
The rationale behind some of this is that, and if I can explain, if, let's say we take, like you said, we take a trip to Morgantown,
Mhm.
okay? We get up there, we have a bus breakdown. Monongalia County sends one of their buses over and takes care of the kids until we can get a mechanic up there to take care of it.
Mhm.
If we're out of state, we're on our own.
Yes.
That's been the reason behind it.
I can see if you're going to Cincinnati or
Yeah.
somewhere, but, you know, we generally just carte blanche approve these things anyway, but Ashland, I mean, it's just across the river. I think you ought to have that approval and
Okay.
just say, you know, if they want to schedule a ball team in Maryland or
Yeah.
South Point, schedule it, you know, and you approve it. I don't see why we have to do that. You board
Yeah,
members agree
I-
with me on that?
agree.
I mean, it's reasonable.
Okay, let's amend that policy.
Just have to look at a specific mileage amount. No,
I think,
Your discretion.
Yeah, at the discretion of the superintendent.
I can check with Leslie to see if we have to do this as an addendum or we can do an administrative guideline to the current policy.
Okay.
yeah, we just need to amend that. We don't need to be approving that all the time.
Yeah, for little things.
Okay. Any other discussion? If not, I entertain a motion and second to approve.
So moved.
Snyder makes the motion.
Second.
Wilson seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And 4-0, unanimous. Finance, any discussion? No discussion. We still looking good in finance?
We're busy right now.
All right, all right. I brag on you every day, by the way.
Keep going, we're struggling. Keep going.
Motion a second to approve.
I make a motion.
Burns makes the motion.
Second.
Wilson seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Personnel personnel schedule. It's at the blue sheet.
Yep.
Any discussion? There is one thing to add. Under item F, there's a blank spot. That person's name is Larry Harshbarger.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
Now, he is, where will he be going? He
is
go to the CTE department?
Yeah, he's just department head. He's already in that department. This
Okay.
is the supplemental position.
Okay.
I make a motion that we approve.
Wilson makes the motion.
I'll-
Burns seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Before we go into executive session, I dropped down to item 10, appointment of board member. I'll explain that we had 2 applicants apply for the vacant board member seat of Mr. Pastori. We had scheduled those for an interview. One of those applicants has since said, because of the weather that we had on Monday or Tuesday night, whatever that was, and he's out of town tonight, and we're fast approaching our limit of 45 days. He just pulled his application, and I've got it on my phone, and I'll show it to you all. Which just leaves one applicant, which seems to be pretty much a no-brainer.
Well, we want to go into executive session to talk about personnel.
Yeah.
I'd like to do that, make that part of the personnel. When we're going to executive session.
It's item 10.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we will talk about that also in the.
In
the,
executive session.
Okay. So we'll address that when we come out of executive session?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, motion and a second to enter executive session, talk about student discipline and potential board member.
Okay.
Do I have a motion and a second?
I'll make that motion.
Burns makes the motion. Up, hang on, before we do that. Let's just do the update for the people maybe watching and
Okay.
the other people here. Let's do the Duval update.
Well, I just got a text message. The farmhouse is down.
Yes, I saw it coming in.
It's down. The asbestos has been abated from the second floor. They're gonna move down to the first floor now and get that taken care of. The old band room out back and I guess what everybody lovingly referred to as Blaine's room. It's the Blaine building.
The blank buildings.
They're both down. So Mr. Davis and I were up there last week. They're making progress pretty quickly on the demo. We had the bid opening today. It wasn't the news we hoped we'd hear. We came in a little less than the last time, but not a great deal, about $1 million.
$1 million less
Yeah.
after we cut?
So, we're getting a meeting scheduled hopefully Monday at the school building authority. And we'll go up and put all of our cards on the table. But we've done everything the school building authority has asked us to do. So it's, we're at their mercy right now. I will say that there's a little bit of difference. I said million, it's really more like $1.5 million because there's $500,000 worth of contingencies that are built in to this budget that weren't built into the last one.
With all the things that we moved out of that building and the dirt that we aren't going to move, it doesn't seem like it's in line. But, we'll just leave that up to you all to do
Well,
that.
Jerry and I are kind of scratching our head on the dirt you mentioned, that because in one of the initial meetings, it was talked about being a balanced site. And now they're saying they're gonna have to remove 290 cubic yards of dirt off site.
That was more than the first one.
That's more than the first one,
Yeah.
yes. Because they have to cut deeper into the hill. Now, since that, we have been talking to Mr. Baker, who's the floodplain manager. And Jerry and I and Mr. Davis met with him and a representative from William Schreiber last week and talked about perhaps taking some of that on site here in the county. I know that the baseball team's wanting to build a metal building over there by the baseball field, but it's 5 feet in the floodplain. We'll have to build that up. But it's a process. We couldn't get it done in the amount of time because we have to apply for FEMA permits to actually put that in there. But if we have the dirt already there on our site, if they're able to take off half of it on our site, that could end up being, you know, a pretty decent savings to us, a credit to us on when
And
the
help us too.
construct starts. So we'll have it there and it'll just be a matter of moving it down once we get the FEMA permits.
How many
So-
bidders did we have on the
We
project?
ended up with 3,
3 bidders.
9 pre-bid, 3 bidders. And there was one bid that was actually 7 million over what the low bid was.
Oh, well, okay. Any other discussion? All right, Burns has made a motion to go into executive session to discuss student discipline and appointment of board member. Do I have a second?
Second.
Snyder, second. The time is 7:42,
6:42.
6:42. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? And we are in executive session.